be walking through the CITS3002 unit project. The battleships engage in explosive rivalry. I'm going to start the server on the left panel. I'm going to join as a client. I'm going to join as a client. It says a new connection. It detects the IP address and also the port. Now, it's just going to choose a random port if I don't specify as the client. Do you have an existing player ID? No. This is for connecting back later if you disconnect in the match. Now, I'm just going to do random placement. And for here, I'm going to do a manual placement. As you can see, it works. After placing all the ships, the game starts. Enter coordinate to fire. It's player 4457's turn. His turn just passed. I set it to a short timer so you guys can see that the turn timeout does work. I'm gonna let it time out and give it some invalid inputs. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna shoot and miss and returns a turn back to the opponent. I'm going to shoot at a ship position, A10. I hit and I get another turn as per the rules of the game. Yep, we're gonna miss. Right, so while that's working, another client could join, and this client will become a spectator, and he will get board updates. Oh, sorry, that just timed out. After every turn, he gets the result of what happens, who fired at what, and the board update. Now, if fifth client, actually it would be two. So that's all working well. Now I'm going to disconnect one of the clients. I'm going to disconnect this client. It's going to see that the connection closed. That's all well and good. I'm just going to reconnect. Yes, 4557, I believe it was. And he's able to connect back to the... Oh shoot, I set the reconnection to short. Okay, so now you can see that the game closes. He wins because he didn't join back in time. And now the new clients can join in. But before I do that, I'm just going to show you that it does work. So I'm going to close these two since the game finished. Okay. Press any key to exit. This was the winner. I'm going to close these two panels. And I'm going to put another spectator in. Sorry, a new client in. He's going to connect and be able to play the game with this guy. Now, he's going to place the ships first. This is just from the previous game. It doesn't clear the terminal. Randomly place, okay, my turn. And the game continues, just like before. Now, I'm going to disconnect and see if I can connect back in time. Before the... Where is it? 9808. He reconnects, and it's his turn. So that's all well and good. He can also quit, which forfeits the game. The other guy is announced the winner. And throughout all of this, the server logs every single, well, not every single interaction, but socket interactions, such as joining the game, game starts, when the player disconnects, when the player joins back, and which address and what port they're connecting from. Let me just think of what to do now. Okay, it'll be fun to walk through some of the development challenges that we had. So it used to be that if you disconnect out of turn and you reconnect back, entering the same ID as before, it would not let you reconnect. And I believe that was due to an exception block where if you disconnected out of turn, the server is actually not receiving from this client. So it doesn't go to that exception block and it doesn't disconnect the player. It doesn't set the flag to disconnect. So the server does not know they disconnect. So when they do reconnect, they check the flag and sees that he's still connected, or the server doesn't see what the server is supposed to see, which is that he's disconnected and he gave the right player ID. So it fails the check and it turns him into a spectator, essentially. So that was one of the key challenges of exception handling. And the way we got away with it was just refining the logic a little bit. Because if you're relying on it to go to the exception and then handle it properly, it's not always going to go to the exception. For example, you disconnect out of your turn, the server's not listening on that socket. So the server's not listening to that client, so it does not detect a disconnection. Yep, so the project is structured as so. We have the main battleship, the battleship game logic. That hasn't been changed much. For battleship server, it has a bunch of flags for tracking game states, and pretty much is all functions. And when the game starts, it's going to do a bunch of initialization. It's going to put each player on a listening thread, and also, and so they handle them concurrently. That was one of the first stages of the project, but that's how we structured it, to have functions and function invocations. So we are troubleshooting. That's unrelated. And for client, this is a more fat server implementation where the client doesn't do much other than listening and do some basic validation. So the server does the bulk of the work, whereas the client just listens and sends messages and detects some errors, such as sending out of turn quits. So that was one of the issues. When you send a quit out of turn, the similar thing happens as the disconnecting out of turn. So this guy's out of turn, he quits. It doesn't quit properly. Sometimes it will say not your turn. Actually, he quit properly, so that's fine. So it used to be that he wasn't able to quit properly. I believe Jashan implemented this. So when you quit versus when you disconnect via Control-C, the keyboard interrupt, they're treated differently. So when you're quitting, we had a discussion with this. So quitting would mean forfeiting the game, whereas Control-C would mean would simulate the disconnection, essentially. Yep, game ends. Another issue we had was when we had only one spectator. Let me just demonstrate. So we'll play a game out, and the game ends. One spectator. I believe now the out of turn quit doesn't work. Okay, yeah. So quit. Oh shit, missed it. For the game, it used to be that if there was only one spectator waiting, another spectator would join, but he would not be able to start a game with that one spectator who was spectating that match previously. But now that's not the case anymore. Yes, we were able to patch that up. So that was one of our bigger challenges as well. Well, anyways, thanks for listening to my project demonstration. I hope you enjoyed. It's not perfect, but put quite a bit of time in it. And yeah, thank you. Jin Hong, if you're listening to this, you're a legend.